So basically, majorly, this is going to be for those people who are just starting out and who've thought of actuarial science and they're planning to give their first paper. And so I'm going to kind of take you through what all other institutes, or how you decide, or what all is the background that you need, or what all are the basics that you need to have cleared in order to start your actuarial journey. So all of those things I'll cover up, and then if there are any questions with respect to starting your actuarial journey, we'll try not to go beyond that, but let's see, if we get time then we could do that as well. So anyway, now when we talk about actuaries, majorly in India, people prefer to do it from two institutes. One is the IFOA, Institute and Faculty of Actuaries, and the second one is IAI. Okay, IAI is Indian Institute of Actuaries. So IFOA is the one from UK, and IAI is the one from India. Okay, so majorly these are the two institutes from which people usually, the students from India usually give their papers. And now the difference between the two, sorry, I'm getting a call. So the major difference between the two is that firstly, IFOA allows you to start right after your 10th standard. So as soon as you're done with your 10th standard exam, you can start with IFOA. But then with IAI, what happens is you have to clear your 12th standard exam, and then you have to clear your entrance exam also. So IFOA does not have any sort of entrance exam. The UK one doesn't have any sort of entrance exam. The IAI, which is the Indian one, has an entrance exam. Okay, as well as the UK one. Sorry, I think I'm getting a few calls. So anyway, I was saying, yeah, the IFOA does not need to, does not need you all to give any sort of entrance exam, and IAI needs you all to give an entrance exam which is called as ACET, which is the Actuarial Common Entrance Test. Okay, so you give that and then you start with your actuarial papers. Okay, so majorly people prefer IFOA because firstly, no entrance, you can directly start with your first paper. Secondly, the passing percentage is better in IFOA as compared to IAI. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go for IAI, but what I'm trying to just kind of give you all an idea what is the difference between the two institutes that we have. So that is majorly the difference between these two institutes. So IFOA, because given the passing percentage, and that's the aim, right? Finally, because that is the aim, usually people prefer to go for IFOA क्योंकि ज़्यादा लोग पास करते हैं तो बेहतर होता है than IAI, but you could choose to go for IAI as well. If there are any questions regarding that, we'll take those in the end. Now, when you're starting with your actuarial journey, now for those specifically who are starting after their 10th standard exam, have not done their 11th and 12th. So initially 10th standard wale people were not allowed to give actuarial exam. You need to have your 12th standard exam done in order to give your first actuarial exam from either institutes. Previously is what I'm saying. So now they've allowed, but then what happens is you need to have your basics of 11th and 12th very clear, your math basics of 11th and 12th very clear in order to give your first actuarial exam. So basically 11th 12th में भी majorly जो है वो तुम्हारा बोलते हैं ना हम लोग integration derivatives, that is the that is majority, मतलब 95% तो उतना ही तुम लोग को पता होना चाहिए तुम्हारा integration and derivatives, which is something that is done in 11th and 12th. So if you are somebody from 10th and you've just gotten done with your 10th standard exam and you want to do the actuarial exam, you'll either have to study that integration and derivatives from somewhere, because that is something that is used quite a lot in our papers, or else just from Finstat we also offer a course which is for math basics, so that is specifically designed for those people who have not taken 11th 12th maths either, or they're from 10th standard and they want to give their exam. So you can talk to our counselors, or you can DM us on Instagram if you want to know more about that. But basically what my point is that you need to have those things clear. तो तुम्हारा derivatives और integration clear होना चाहिए, तुम लोगों ने किया है नहीं किया है जो भी है तुम लोग का clear होना चाहिए before you actually start with your first paper. Okay, because those are the basics, right? There are so many more things that you're going to learn when you actually start your paper. So you can't go on struggling with integration derivatives if you want to go there very smoothly. So it's always better that you clear that out first. And but if you need any sort of help with that, you can always contact me, or you can always contact the counselors. He'll help you throughout. Yeah, so that is about what basics you need in order to give your first actuarial exam. Now starting out with your, which should ideally be your first actuarial paper. Now I usually always suggest CM1 as the first paper. there are two options. You could either give CM1 or you could give CS1. 90% of the people prefer to give CM1 first, and the remaining 10% of the people, or I should say 95%, because mostly I've seen that people prefer to give CM1 first, and that's my suggestion also, because CS1, what happens is CS1 becomes core statistics, so that becomes like a very technical subject, something that you really need to be good at statistics in order to understand. So what happens if you give that as your first paper and you're not so well versed with statistics, and there is R programming also in that, then what happens is it'll be a problem, because if you're struggling with your first actuarial paper and you're not able to go there very smoothly, then that becomes a little bit of a problem. In CM1, other than derivatives and integration, no other basics are required as such, and I mean, of course, if you come to me, I'll help you out with everything, but then overall also as a subject, I'm saying that you don't need to know much other than your integration and derivatives, which are your basics of 11th and 12th. Alright, so that is about this thing. Though CM1 is ideally a better choice unless you are somebody from a core statistics background and you've done a lot of statistics and you're very comfortable with that, you could go for CS1. In that case also, I would rather suggest CM1 as your first paper. It's always like the best one to start with. So yeah, that is one thing. Also, I can see Lokesh, you just DM me right now over here in this this thing. I'll give you the number, and or you drop your number. I'll tell the counselors to get in touch with you. Okay. Apologies if somebody was not picking the call, but it could be because it's a weekend. But you drop your number. I'll make sure you're contacted. Anyway, now when you choose CM1 as your first paper, as I already mentioned, now the thing is that for these actuarial exams, and I was giving my exams, we didn't have any of the, we had only one paper, so we basically had only one theory, like a written paper basically. Now what they've done is they've also introduced another B paper, which is your practical paper. So if you go to see your CM1 subject, in your CM1 subject, Excel, your B paper is about Excel. So basically whatever you learn to write and solve with your calculator, what happens is you will do the same thing in Excel. So you basically learn Excel as well, and that's one of the best things I think that has happened, because when we used to go out and look for jobs or whatever, like in our times when I used to give my exams, we did not have any sort of practical knowledge, right? So right now, if you guys understand, Excel is one of the most important things. Like everywhere you go, you have to know Excel. So so it kind of adds to the burden of what you want to study. But if you go to look at it as how it will help you when you actually go out in the real world, it'll actually help you quite a lot. It'll actually help you really a lot. Okay, so it becomes, I mean, of course, initially there is a little this thing where नया है तो पता नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं पता, कभी life में नहीं किया है, and that is completely fine. Majority of the people giving CM1 or any of these actuarial exams have never done it. Okay, so it's not that you're the only one who's never done Excel and the others are all well versed with it. Everybody is just like you and everybody is just with you. So all that you have to do is just accept that thing and kind of learn for that thing. Of course, if you come to me, and my students know this thing, that I take Excel from the very basics, so I don't expect you all to know anything. Like literally, if you can open Excel, that is more than enough for me right now. Like from your computer, if you can open Excel, Microsoft Excel, that will also be more than enough. Okay, so if you come to me anyway, there's like no issue with everything, but I'm just trying to give you all an idea for those who are very new over here. And so yeah, there are these B parts that are introduced. So जैसे CM1 में A paper is the written paper, B paper is the Excel paper. CS1 similarly, A paper is again the written paper, B paper is R programming. Okay, so which you will not understand a lot about, but again it's another software that you need to learn about, and which you will when you actually give your CS1 exam. Okay. Now, given this pandemic, the exams are being conducted online, right? So there's no written exam actually, so you are not going to the center and writing the exam. The exams are being conducted from your house. So you have to give the exam from the house. Anyway, Excel exam you were supposed to give from your house itself, or from your home itself, pre-lockdown as well, or pre-COVID as well. But right now, because of the COVID part, they've not taken the risk of conducting offline exams, basically written exams. So everything, both the parts A and B are going to be taken from your home. But that I don't think, I mean, a lot of people come to me and they're like, sir, online exams. I remember the first time the exam was online. I remember a lot of people coming to me and, sir, exam online hai, kaise karenge, kya karenge? You guys need to understand this thing. Firstly, we have to start getting, we need to adapt to all of these changes that are happening, because these changes are kind of going to stay forever. So you have to be very adaptable to the changes, because if you just be like, I want a comfortable environment and then only I'll give the exam, meaning I'll wait for the exams to go offline. I remember still at that time, because we didn't know that COVID is going to go for so long. So a lot of people waited for one attempt and they ended up wasting 6 months, and then they anyway gave the online exam in the next attempt. So when they studied for it, and that's what I tell you all, if there is something that you're not comfortable with, what do? You don't wait for it to get comfortable. You actually work on it and make it comfortable, right? So you don't wait for that situation to change. So online exams, so those also were wondering how online exams, what and everything. I know already my own 300, 500 or 400 students have given online exams, and they've all been able to give it quite well. There has been no issue whatsoever. So the only thing is you got to work for it. So if you work enough towards that thing where you're not comfortable with the typing part or whatever it is and all of that, if you work for it, it's going to be very smooth. I'm telling you all that it's actually going to be very smooth by the end of where you actually do. And if you come to me, I anyway make you all practice all of the typing part and everything that I guide you all in. So that is something that you all need not worry about anyway. I don't want to praise myself, but yeah, that's something that I make sure that my students are not facing any sort of issues with that. So I guide throughout about that thing. And so CM1 ka another announcement I want to make is that CM1 ka new batches for the next April attempt, which is the coming attempt, are going to be starting from 15th of August. This coming 15th of August, Sunday, and it will be in the morning. The timings will be informed to you all. So if you want to join that batch, you all can DM us again over here, and we'll make sure that we get in touch with you. I'll make sure that the counselors are contacting you. If there are any sort of issues, you all can ask the questions right now. I'm going to take up your questions. So I'll take the questions, and after that, if there's anything else other than that as well, then you all can ask the counselors. So you all can ask the counselors to schedule a call with me as well, and then we can have a word. Okay. So CM1 ka whoever wants to enroll for the class, make sure that you all DM us, and then from 15th August we can get started. Okay. There are going to be batches after that as well, so it's not that this is going to be the last batch. So if you miss this, there is not going to be otherwise. There are going to be quite a few batches. But the earlier you start, the better it is. So if there's anything, you all can get in touch. If you want to know the future date or anything also, you all can get in touch with us. Okay. So I'll just quickly take up a few questions in case you all have. By the way, I hope whoever is very new to this field, I hope you all have I've been able to throw some light on how actuarial science ka papers work, how the institutes are, and all of this. Of course, if there's anything more, you all can always call us. I'll make sure I drop the number here before I leave. And yeah, let me take up a few questions if you all have any. So Lokesh, I'll make sure that you are contacted. Let me just take a screenshot. I'll just take a screenshot. I don't think I'm able to, but I'll make sure that the team is contacting you, right? So will the Finstat classes be live? So there's going to be a mix of live and recorded. It's practically, I believe it's practically not possible to conduct the entire class on live, because you have to have a bit of recorded sessions as well as you got to have a bit of live as well, because some people take it entirely recorded, and which is not, I don't think that is as useful, because you have to have that touch with the faculty, you have to have that touch with the teacher if there's any doubt or anything like that. So there is going to be a mix of both. There's going to be a recorded part as well. We're going to have doubt solving sessions, we're going to have assignments, we're going to have tests and all of that. So uska sare ka doubt solving, and a few chapters also will be taken entirely live, right? So you all will be comforted, and the recorded lecture also, again, I don't want to praise my own videos, but then they're quite good. I've really put in more than what I thought I could ever into the videos. So the videos are good enough. And if there's any doubt, we anyway meet, so that's not going to be a problem. How is CM1 used in real life? So if you understand, CM1 is a combination of two subjects, which is CT1 and CT5. CT1 is your basics of financial mathematics, so how your interest rates work, what are annuities, how your project appraisal, basically how do you decide if you want to go ahead with a particular project or not, the internal rate of return, if you know that you are getting a certain amount from Like basically, if you know how much amount you're investing and how much of cash flows you're getting back from a particular project. Why are people only want to remember me during the live? Sorry, I got a call. Anyway, so CT1 is all about that, where we're going to learn about interest rates, annuities, financial mathematics basically, okay? And then project appraisal, so net present value, IRR, and all of these things where you actually evaluate your projects. How do you decide if you should go ahead with a business project or not? And then you have your bonds, and you have all of those spot rates and forward rates and all of those things. So that is about CT1. Then CT5 part of it, these are both parts of CM1. CT5 part of it is entirely about life insurance. So majorly actuaries take up jobs in life insurance companies. So those are the basics, what all are the contracts, what all are insurance contracts, how is the claim paid, or how do you decide on a premium, how do you calculate a premium, how do you maintain reserves, or how is profit testing done for this thing, unit linked contracts. So all of these different types of CT5 life insurance concepts you learn in your the CT5 part of CM1. So which is why all of this is going to be very practical. If you're about to go in this field, you have to have the knowledge of this thing, and plus you're going to do Excel. So when you actually go to work in your real life also, that Excel knowledge is also going to help you quite a lot, okay? So that is how you use it in your real life, you can say. So depends, boom, I don't know if it's Bhumi or what, but you can study CM1 and another subject. Just make sure that if you're giving 2 exams, you're firstly taking up membership, because you need to have your membership in order to give a particular exam, 2 exams. If you're giving 1 exam, then you need not take the membership, you can give it as a non-member. But if you're giving 2 exams, make sure you have membership. And yes, you can do that. Specifically in this attempt, you can do that. I'll suggest you to go for CB1 and CB2, either of these two, I mean, because those are theory papers. So that you can manage with CM1. And given that this attempt is a longer attempt, if you see, April to September is a shorter attempt, because usually we start studying in May or something. But here we are starting in August and the exam is in April. So we have quite a lot of time to study. So then you could think of giving 2 exams. Do not merge CM1 and CS1. That will be my suggestion again, because that becomes quite a lot. Both are really heavy papers to do combined together. So just a second. Then we have, is it advisable to start data science? Depends on what your goal is, and data science also, what do you mean? Like you want to do a course abroad, you want to do just like a basic course, you want to do graduation, masters in it, or what? It's a very vague question, but yeah, data science of course works with actuarial science. Again, it's more of quite related to statistics. Both are quite related to statistics. So yeah, they'll go hand in hand. So if you want to do data science also simultaneously, that will not be a bad option. Which graduation degree should you prefer simultaneously? There is no specific degree that goes with actuarial science very specifically. But usually people do BSc or BA in stats. So if you do something in stats, it's a good thing. But I again mention this every time I talk to anybody who asks me about this, that make sure that whichever college you're choosing or whichever course you're choosing, in case you are very certain about actuarial science, don't go for some course which is going to take a lot of your time, because if that college only is going to take a lot of your time with respect to the assignments, tests or attendance and all of that, you all will be too exhausted to study for these actuarial exams. So go for something which is light enough. I'm not saying light as in you don't have to attend at all. ऐसा इतना भी नहीं होगा तो भी चलेगा. But then go for something which is not too time consuming, so that you will have enough time to look for your actuarial exams as well, and you can manage your college as well. So something that you like, you can absolutely go for. So there are BMS, BFM, BFA, anything. Normal BCom also absolutely works with it. If you're very certain about actuarial science as your course, then that will actually work for you. Okay, so make sure the college burden is not quite a lot, so that you don't get enough time for doing the actuarial studies. Do we have to type the mathematical solutions? Yes. So you have to type the mathematical solutions, Nishant, for in Word. So the written paper, basically, because there is no written part practically possible from your house, we have to type the solutions in Word. But again, that will sound very vague to you right now because you've not gotten into it. So if that is what you're thinking, you have to work for it. You come to me, we'll see how to do it, and it's quite smooth. Matlab, if you just make a plan of how you're going to write the solutions, what notations you're going to have and everything, then it becomes pretty smooth. मतलब काफ़ी हद तक तुम लोग comfortable बन जाते हो till the end if you practice quite a lot. मैं तो देता ही हूँ practice, but otherwise if you're doing by yourself also, practice करोगे ना तो काफ़ी comfortable हो जाओगे. So yes, you have to type, but if you practice, you will get comfortable enough according to me. Yeah, study material we'll provide everything. All of I give my own notes in the videos or in the live lectures that we take. I'll make you all make our own notes. So we'll have our own notes. We'll have notes that you will also have. You will have made yourself. तो पूरा का पूरा content जो भी तुम लोग को लगेगा ना, we'll give all of that. That you don't need to worry. Will BSc Finance course support the actuarial science? I need to actually read the question, right? Because the others won't understand what I'm reading. Anyway, so will BSc Finance course support the actuarial science syllabus? Absolutely, why not? Finance is something that is very much related. I won't say एकदम perfectly made course for actuarial science, but वो तो मैंने already बताया कि ऐसा कोई tailor made course तो है ही नहीं कि actuaries कर रहे हो तो ये इसके साथ ये करना ही चाहिए. So if that is something that you like, you know that the college work is not, the workload is not quite a lot, and you like that whatever you are doing, go ahead with it. It will go well with actuarial science, etc. So will Sir, BSc Stats is preferred or BSc Actuarial Science? Again, as I mentioned, both are completely alright. BSc Actuarial Science जहाँ से करो, make sure करो क्या कोर्स है, कैसा है. BSc Stats भी अच्छा, बहुत अच्छा कोर्स है. So anything works. मतलब Actuarial Science कहाँ से करो, उसमें क्या सब्जेक्ट्स है वो एक बार देख लो. And if it's good enough, manageable, then you can do it. What about the study materials and about the registration as a non-member? मतलब what do you want to ask Harshil exactly? So non-member का concept मैं बता देता हूँ. Non-member का concept ये है कि वो लोग क्या करते हैं, because IFOA doesn't have an entrance, right? So what you can do is you can either directly apply also. So it's not that you have to clear one paper in order to apply, but usually लोग क्या करते हैं कि before applying, what they do is first paper, which is either of CM1 or CS1, IFOA allows you to give it as a non-member also. So right now I'm a random person, I want to do actuaries. I don't do anything, I just directly register for CM1 or CS1, either of the two, का non-member exam. As soon as I clear the exam, then I am eligible for taking the membership. Okay, otherwise also I'm eligible, but that is how usually people do, is what I'm telling you all. So non-member वो लोग एक exam, because in case you're not very certain or you know you're not sure that you want to do actually, you want to probably try a paper out, तो तुम्हें membership cost वगैरह वो सब नहीं भरना है, तो तुम लोग एक पेपर दे सकते हो non-member करके. ठीक है, तो CM1 और CS1, again if it's the first exam I'll suggest it be CM1 only. Okay, so that is how you register as a non-member. And study material, if you are coming to us, I'll provide you everything. If you are doing it individually, you won't get the study material with the registration, so you'll have to buy it separately. Okay, so we have to take science or commerce for actuarial science. Again, as I mentioned, there is no particular course, graduation course that goes with actuarial science very specifically. So you can do anything and that will absolutely be fine. Science भी ले लो, commerce भी ले लो, कुछ भी ले लो, चलेगा, कोई problem नहीं. As long as you like it and as long as it's not taking a lot of your time, absolutely fine. Anything is fine. So what's your thoughts on BSc Actuarial Science? I don't know what this course is exactly, because it depends on, because every college. Now BSc Stats, if you ask me, that is kind of very standard still, but BSc Actuarial Science nowadays a lot of colleges are coming up with these things, so I don't know which college and which things exactly you're talking about, like what are the exact subjects and everything, I don't know, so I won't be able to comment on that. But you have a look at the subjects. If you think that they're very relevant to your papers and whatever you're going to learn over here, then you could go with that. Sir, IFOA or II already I think talked about it, Aditya. IFOA is always better, that's my suggestion. Because II is a little difficult to, the papers from II are a little difficult to clear than IFOA. The IFOA has better passing percentage. That is one of the reasons that IFOA is always preferable. But you can choose, I mean, मेरे हिसाब से IFOA is better. How is the course of BSc Actuarial Science of DS acted? No, I think I have no idea about it. But if you read the subjects, if you get back to me in the DM with the subject list or what all are the contents, I will be able to help you with that. Okay, but I've not heard about it. So as we become a member of IFO, do we get study material or recorded videos from their side? You don't get anything if you become a member. You just get the access to actually register for further papers. Now if you want to buy the material and you want to get the recorded videos, they do have recorded videos and they do have the study material also, but it is not at all very descriptive. मतलब अपने को ना इंडिया में बहुत लर्निंग का कैसे आदत है, स्पून फीडिंग टाइप आदत है अपने को. तो तुम लोग अगर देखने चाहोगे ना वीडियोस, तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा डिस्क्रिप्टिव, बहुत ज़्यादा एक्सप्लेनेटरी नहीं है. देयर अ लिटिल मतलब मैंने पूरा तो देखा नहीं है, बट मुझे इतना पता है कि वो एकदम डिस्क्रिप्टिव नहीं है. तो यू विल हैव टू बट बाय दैट सेपरेटली, तो वो चार्जेस तुम्हें सेपरेटली लगेंगे. सो देन इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर टू जॉइन अ कोचिंग सेंटर that will just give you everything, because they'll just give you the videos and उसके अलावा कोई support ज़्यादा होता नहीं है. They just correct a few tests and all of that they give it to you. That's all. So 3 hours 15 minutes would be enough for writing the solutions in Word. Won't it take much more time? Again, Nishant, you're saying because I'm assuming that you've not given any sort of exam yet, or hopefully you're not preparing for any sort of exam yet. It's not less of time. It is enough. It is more than enough for you to clear the exam and more than enough for you to write so much. I know a lot of people who've almost written 90 plus in my last attempt as well. A lot of people, and I'm not even kidding. So the whole point is, that's what I told you, that you have to make a plan and you know that this is what your goal is, that in 3 hours 15 minutes I want to write this paper. So according to that, according to the fact that you have 3 hours 15 minutes and you have 100 marks of paper to write, you plan out that 3 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आएगा तो मैं कितना लिखूंगा, 4 मार्क का क्वेश्चन आएगा तो मैं कितना लिखूंगा, कितना स्टेप्स दिखाऊंगा, कैसे दिखाऊंगा, एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. सो अगेन दैट इज़ अ प्लान. सो दैट इज समथिंग दैट आई सेट अप विद माई स्टूडेंट्स. सो मैं उन लोग को इतना ज़्यादा गाइड कर लेता हूँ इन दी एंड व्हेन द पेपर अप्रोचेस. सो वो उन लोग को ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आता नहीं है. तो तुम अगर अपना प्लान बनाते हो प्रॉपरली, so it will not take more time. See, then though if I give you 5 hours also, it will take more time, isn't it? Because the more you write, the more you have to write. So you have to limit yourself over there, and you have to have enough of typing practice also. So as long as you have that, I think it will not be a problem at all. I'm telling you. Okay. See, because when you've not done something, let's say now actually you've not done CM1. If I show you the CM1 curriculum, what are you going to think about it? This is so difficult. I don't understand a single word that they've written. Of course, because that's not something that you've studied, practiced, learned. So till the time you actually do it, you don't get an idea. So that's what I'm saying about typing part also. That till the time you actually start your typing, and till the time you do the practice, you set up a plan and something like that, you're not going to understand if it's achievable, right? So do that, and I'm very sure you will be able to get that. And if there's any help that you need with it, with that thing, you can DM and you can talk to the counselors, and if you want, like, I'll schedule a call with me as well. Okay. Which college is best to do BFM or BCom honors side by side? So Yansh, I won't be able to comment about college because I'm not really very up to date with the colleges and how things work and everything. Just go for something that is good enough, has a good name, reputed. You can ask your peers, you can ask your classmates and everybody. I think they'll be able to guide you better with that. Okay, but it doesn't matter as much. So how many hours of lectures a day? There's no specific time because every week we'll form and we'll create a schedule. So in the beginning it will be very less. In the beginning almost you'll have to give, let's say, 1 hour, 2 hours a day. But in the end, like in the middle part, you'll have to probably give on an average 3 hours a day, approximately 2.5 to 3 hours a day. And then in the end maybe 4 to 5 hours a day you'll have to give. Okay. So lectures नहीं होंगे, but recorded videos. जैसे कि if I send you recorded videos for 4 hours, let's say, okay. Now, and I give you 3 days for it. Now, how you divide that time? You watch one video, all of the 4 hours in one day itself, and you leave 2 days for yourself. That is up to you, isn't it? And live lecture है तो 2-2.5 घंटे का अपना live lecture होता है, तो that you will have to attend there, okay. So, sir, is the II April 2022 attempt online or offline, at least for the time being? At least for the time being, and that is something that they've also declared, it is going to be online. but there is literally no problem with the attempt being online. That's what I'm telling you all, because right now I have also experienced 2 attempts and this is the third one that I'm going to experience, the online attempt I'm talking about. So I have seen that if you work for it, it's not a problem. I'm trying to clear that thing from your head and always understand things like these are going to happen, right? So you can't just stop yourself. What if this, hopefully this goes away, but what if things don't just normalize, right? And then till that time also, then you're going to only waste 6 months of your life. Just go ahead, try for it, and whatever are the problems, you go ahead and tackle that, right? Whenever you think that there is some sort of problem, like typing is going to be a problem, so what do? You don't run away from it. You make sure that you create a plan, you work for it, you type every day for half an hour, 1 hour, you start working for that as well, and you clear it off. You get at such a level, because understand this thing also, I always mention to everybody that everybody who's going to give the exam is just like you. They've not done typing for their whole life, they've never done it, and this is the first time probably they're also going to be doing it. 95% of the people are doing it for the first time with you, right? So it's not that a big deal, because everybody that's doing it, that thing they're doing it with you only. So first time ही ऐसा होता है. Ideally how many months are required to prepare for CM1? डिपेंड्स. अभी तुम खुद से कर रहे हो तो अलग है, क्लासेस के साथ कर रहे हो तो अलग है. तो क्लासेस के साथ अराउंड आई थिंक 5 months और सो आर गुड इनफ, एंड खुद से कर रहे हो तो आई थिंक 3 to 4 months डिपेंडिंग ऑन, बिकॉज क्लासेस में हम लोग कैसे बहुत ज़्यादा मैं करवा के लूँगा, प्रैक्टिस असाइनमेंट्स ये वो, तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा है. खुद से मे बी 2 to 3 months और समथिंग आई थिंक खुद से, एंड क्लासेस में 5 months और सो आर आइडियल. तो अब अभी तो ज़्यादा ही मंथ्स है, तो अच्छा ही है. I've heard that actuarial exam is quite tough compared to CA. Is it true? I don't want to compare, but yeah, of course, I mean, actuarial exams are always known to be very difficult. But again, I don't know, I think I should just repeat that same thing again. Difficult is very subjective, and difficult is only till the time you work for it. If you work for it and if you understand that ये एग्जाम मुझे क्लियर करना है, तो what do I need in order to clear the exam? अगर ये सवाल तुम खुद को पूछते हो and you work for it, there is nothing that is impossible and there is nothing that is difficult. So if you want to do it, it is quite doable. It is difficult, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि 12th का एग्ज़ाम या फिर BCom का एग्ज़ाम जैसे लोग उठ के देते हैं, पढ़ाई किया 1.5 महीना 1 महीना, चलो उठ के दे दिया एग्ज़ाम, वैसे टाइप तो नहीं होगा. You'll have to study comparatively quite a lot, but if you study well, then it's good enough, it's decent enough to clear, not very difficult. Sir, actuarial science exams and levels are every 3 months. Not every 3 months, Dishant, it's every 6 months. So we have IFOA attempts in April and September. So these are the 2 attempts in 1 year. So every year, April, September. So every 6 months you will have an attempt. Okay? There are questions in these question point also. But I think I've answered those. So, is actuarial science a lucrative career option? Abhi, of course, it's a good career option, and it's something that is booming right now, and it's something that insurance sector is something that is growing right now. And but lucrative depends on what your goals are. If your goals are money, if your goal is the subject that you are learning, if your goal is to get a job, or what kind of job and everything. So depending on that, then that lucrative can be decided. But of course, yes, it is a lucrative. It's one of the toughest jobs, and it's one of the toughest careers. Sorry. So yeah, it is good enough. Yeah, we can. You can start it, Dishant, from 11th itself. Totally. FIJC say you can start it, so there is no problem with that. I have completed 12th Commerce Board exam this year. So taking BCom in Actuarial Science or BSc in Actuarial Science, does they help? I don't think that will help, Kunal. So what he is asking is basically BSc Actuarial Science or BCom in Actuarial Science help करेगा क्या? Maybe ऐसा 5-10% it will help, but ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमने कोई और कोर्स किया और ये कोर्स किया तो बहुत फ़र्क पड़ा तुम्हें, या बहुत you are at a much of an advantage than the others, or than if you had taken some other course. So ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. मेजरली तो करो या नहीं करो फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा. So it will not help quite a lot, or it is not really required also, Kunal. But if you like the course, if you like the subjects that are there, you can always go for it. So I think, I don't even know what time it is. I just have been answering questions. I was hoping this session to be only for half an hour, but I think it's already been 40 minutes, and that's what happens when I start talking. I think I just don't stop. But I hope I was able to answer your questions. I'll just wait a minute or two. If you all have any other questions, you all can write those down. But as I already mentioned, again, this was majorly for those who are starting out with actuarial careers. And so for the first paper, again, we have the classes starting from 15th of August. So if you all want to attend a demo lecture also, you all are not very certain that you want to join, you all can attend like a 2 or 3 demo sessions also, absolutely. You all need not pay the fee and join. You all can see how it works for you, see how online classes work for you, see how I'm teaching, or see if that is also something that works for you. So if you want to attend the demo class also, you all can DM us, and the counselors will add you to the group and they'll share the link. So then you all can attend the lecture also. Okay, so you all can attend the demo class and everything. And if you all want to talk to me also, you all make sure that वापस DM करो. So I'll tell the counselors to get in touch with you, and then they can connect it to me. Then, so what degree helps in clearing actuarial paper? Kunal, I think, I don't know if you joined late or not. There is no degree that helps you in clearing actuarial papers. Actuarial papers are a different thing entirely. So there is no specific course that will help you. You can go ahead with anything that you want. So about the fee structure and everything, Yashi, just DM कर दो ना, तो वो fee structure सारा तुम्हें explain कर दिया जाएगा. So just make sure you DM, and then we'll get back to you about the fee structure and everything. Okay. When will the offline classes start in your tuition? Offline classes, not sure, yaar, because right now even the colleges are not working. So then private coaching centers ka to we're not even sure. And I really will suggest you that you try the online part, and you'll understand that it's not really as bad as it looks, or as you've been experiencing till now. So it's quite good, quite smooth, it goes quite well. Don't waste your months, that's my only point. And try the online part, attend the demo sessions and everything. You will understand that you will get comfortable with that. So according to you, should we start actuarial science exam from class 11? Yeah, why not? I mean, from your 11th, if you start your exams, what happens is firstly you get a few years to try out if this is working for you, right? So your 11th and 12th, usually where people don't do anything other than 11th and 12th. If you are starting from your 11th standard, then what happens is you all are getting more number of years than the others who start after their 12th. So it's always better if you start from 11th standard, Aditya. So I hope everybody is clear about the major doubts. Which type of math, which type as in basics required है रे आदित्य? तुम DM कर दो ना, you get on a call with me, I'll explain all of that. With respect to the live, I think I will kind of try to conclude. Are there any major questions, guys, everybody? I think I'll close at 45, so I'll take it for a further 4 minutes. So, which skills can we start preparing for CMN? Like you said, focus on integration and derivatives. It depends. If you're coming to me, then there is nothing that you need to do other than derivatives and integration. That also, if you're not able to do by yourself, you get in touch with me. I'll guide you about how to do that. If you're doing it by yourself, then other than derivatives and integration, सारे तुम्हारे math के basics clear करो. मतलब exponential या फिर logarithm या फिर जो basics, मतलब जो हम लोग school में ही सीखे actually, या फिर 11th-12th में जो भी सिखाया जाता है, तो basic stuff, like really basic stuff. Other than that कोई skill की ज़रूरत नहीं है. And Excel and all also you can try focusing on, or try mastering a little bit. That will also work. ठीक है, I think it is okay. We still have 2-3 minutes now that I've decided 45. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I would like to know if it was. I had not come with a certain specific plan. I mean, I had a few things that I was going to talk about, and with your questions, I hope I was able to answer those and help you all with that. So if there's anything else, guys, just DM us and we'll get in touch with you. and if there's any other doubt, the counselors will help you all throughout with anything that you need. So that's it then. I think I'm going to conclude. चलो ठीक है, रोनित का लास्ट क्वेश्चन ले लेता हूँ. बाय ग्रेजुएशन हाउ मेनी एग्जाम्स शुड बी डन? Ideally 5 exams, 4 to 5 exams are more than enough, okay, till the time you graduate. So I hope that answers your question. So I'm just going to be ending the live, guys. I hope you all had a good time, and I'll hope to see you in the lecture for those who are going to be coming for it. So if there's any doubt, you all can DM us, and if you want to talk to me, then mention that as well. Then a call will be scheduled with me. Alright, bye guys, have a good day ahead.